In this video, I will explain you how to access tuple elements using variable names. First, let me create a tuple which stores employee information. I will name the tuple as employee, which stores values like employee ID, employee name, and designation. Now I've created a tuple which stores three values. As we have already seen, if you want to access the first element of the tuple, we access through the tuple name ._1, which will give us the first value. Similarly, if you want to access the second value, we access through the tuple name, that is employee ._2. Let me show you. Now, if you want to access the first element of the tuple, as I told you, we access from the tuple name ._1. This will give us the first value of the tuple. Similarly, if you want to access the second value of the tuple, you access with the tuple name ._2 and so on _3, which will give us the third value of the tuple. Now, this approach is not a neater approach, as we are accessing the tuple elements through ._1, ._2, ._3 and so on. Now, what I want to do is I want to provide a neater approach. I want to give the variable names for the tuple elements. Let me execute this program, and later I'll give you the variable names for the tuples. Now I'm able to print the tuple elements. Now what I do, I will assign variable names for the tuple elements. For that, what you can do is I am declaring the variable names. As we know, the first value of the tuple is ID. So I'm declaring a variable name by name ID. And the second element of the tuple, we know it stores name. So I'm declaring a variable by name. And the third element, we know it stores of type designation. So I'm declaring a variable that is designation is equal to and the tuple name. So this is how we access tuple elements using variable names. So what I've done here now is I'm assigning variable names for the tuple elements. Now what it does is the first value of the tuple, if I want to access, I need not access through the tuple name ._1. Now what I have done is I've assigned a variable names to the tuple elements. So if you want to access the first element of the tuple, you can access with this ID. So this ID corresponds to this one. Similarly, if you want to access the second element of the tuple, you need not access with ._2. You can access with this name variable. Let me show you. Let me add a separator just to separate the previous output and the present output. I'm printing the variable name ID is equal to, and I'm printing the variable name that is ID. Similarly, I'm printing name is equal to name. Println designation is equal to designation. Let me execute this program. See, I'm able to access the tuple elements with the variable names. So assigning variable names to the tuple elements is a neater approach.